Hey everyone, a big kia ora to you and a big tena koto katoa to everybody else in the house. I'm the Bento Buster and today I'm going to show you how to make some easy tempura at home. Oh, and by the way, I'm a Kiwi in Japan. Now, I'll be using these ingredients to make my tempura. This is a Maitake mushroom, and this is a slice of Japanese pumpkin. These are Shiso leaves, a Shiitake mushroom, an eggplant, and finally a spear of asparagus. And sorry, no shrimp today, but if you want to know how to make the perfect shrimp tempura, aka ebi tempura, check out this link above. I tell you what, it's awesome! Now the next step is to prepare some of the ingredients, so bear with me while I do some cutting. Now to be brutally honest, when I first started making tempura way back in the day, it sucked! And I guess I had a real love-hate relationship with it. I loved eating it, but I was terrible at making it. But that was then, and this is now, because after doing some research and improving my technique, I can quite honestly say that my tempura is pretty bloody good. And by that, I mean it's pretty good for a Kiwi in Japan. Anyway, my point is, making tempura isn't always that easy. But if you follow a recipe like this, it can be very easy indeed. Yep, there you go, and you heard it here first. Okay, as you can see, I'm making some incisions into these vegetables and fungus. Now, I'm not doing this just for fun, I'm doing it for a purpose. Number one, of course, it's going to make them look good. Number two, it's going to make them cook evenly. And number three, it's going to give more surface area and traction for the batter to adhere to. For crispy tempura, you need dry ingredients. So if you see any moisture on the ingredients, now it's time to dry it off with a paper towel. The next step is to coat the ingredients with a dusting of flour, and this will enable the batter to stick. Now, just a light coating or sprinkling is all that's needed, but make sure it really gets into those nooks and crannies. Don't worry if the flour doesn't cover the ingredients completely, because on the final product, we still want to see some of that ingredient. We don't want it entirely covered in batter. Ta-da! And your eggplant should look something like this once it's coated. The batter will hold onto the places that it wants to, and other parts will be exposed. And ultimately, that creates a great natural contrast. When it comes to the shiso leaf, just dust one side, and that'll give it a more dramatic effect. And there you are, and as the saying goes, done and dusted. Now when it comes to the batter, you have a choice to make. Are you going to use the instant stuff that you just add water to, or are you going to make it from scratch? Well, it's a no-brainer that the instant tempura mix is the easiest option, but if you want to make it from scratch, I do recommend this recipe. And this recipe made from scratch is much easier than you'd think it would be. Now to make the batter, you need an egg and some ice cold water, and then you're going to mix it together like so. And the next step is to add the flour, but don't mix it in too well because we want a lumpy batter. And to avoid over mixing the batter, I recommend that you use chopsticks for this task. To make this, you can use all-purpose flour, but the best flour to use is cake flour because it has a low protein content. And if you're not using cake flour, that could be the reason why you're getting soggy tempura, and nobody likes that. Okay, and there we are. Now that didn't take long, did it? As you can see, it's a very thin batter. Remember, we're not making fish and chips, okay? This is the type of consistency that you're looking for. But we're not finished yet. Now it's time to add the secret ingredient, and that is potato starch. And if you don't have that, use some cornstarch. This is going to help ensure that you have some crispy tempura to look forward to. And I'll just give it a quick mix and that should do it. Okay, and that's it. The batter is ready. So now it's time to play with the lizard. Okay, now that's enough of that. And now it's time to get the wok ready and heat up the oil because soon we're going to start frying these babies. Now you may be asking, hey Bento Buster, what oil should I be using? And I would reply, use a neutral oil, such as canola oil. And if you're feeling adventurous, you could drizzle in a wee bit of sesame oil. Not too much, just a wee bit. And by doing that, you'll add a nice little nutty flavour profile to your dish. Now frying the tempura is pretty straightforward. First, dip your ingredients into the batter. Next, remove any excess batter. And you can do that by giving it a wee shake, or by using the edge of the bowl. And by that I mean drag your ingredient along the edge of the bowl to remove the batter. It's not rocket science, okay? And next, gently place your item carefully into the oil, then watch it fry. And finally, when your tempura turns golden brown like this, it's time to remove it from the oil, else it's gonna burn. And basically, you just keep on repeating this process until you're done. But that said, there are some exceptions. And I will explain that in more detail later, so please keep watching. Okay, the eggplant is done, so now it's time to tempurify the shiitake mushroom. But wait, there's more. We still have the maitake mushroom to be tempuraified. Yep, that's right, it's a fungus fiesta right here on my balcony. Oh, they are definitely frying. Oh, by the way, make sure that your oil is about 160 to 180 degrees Celsius. If the temperature's too low, you're gonna have floppy tempura, and nobody wants a floppy tempura. And if it's too high, well, you're gonna burn the crap out of it. So that means you're gonna have to settle for somewhere in the middle. Oh, watch out, it's a steamer. Okay, so check it out. Yep, they're looking pretty good. A nice little tempuraization all over. And now it's time for the pumpkin. This is one of my favorite types of tempura. If you haven't tried it, Japanese pumpkin is something else. It really is pumpkin-y, but better. So, are you sold? If you are, please give it a try if you can. And to give the pumpkin some company, in goes the asparagus spear. Oh, and we have a bonus vegetable alert. In goes a piece of red capsicum. And the addition of the wild card capsicum is going to give this dish a nice little bit of colour. Well played, Bento Buster. Well played. Oh, and by the way, take time to remove all of these little crispy bits, because if you don't, they will burn and they might change the flavour profile of the oil, and you don't want that. Ooh, look at that. Asparagus tempura, and it's perfectly cooked. Yummo! Okay, now we are almost done. Now look at that. This tempura, it's looking fantastic, isn't it? The pumpkin's the last guy out of the pool, but wait. We still have something left, don't we? Okay, well, it's time for a roll call. Pumpkin and asparagus, check. Red capsicum and eggplant, check. And of course, 2 types of funky mushrooms, check. Oh yes, we still have to do the shiso leaf, and that is one of the exceptions that I mentioned before. So pay close attention because the technique for this is just a little bit different. First, with your fingers, dribble a whole lot of batter into the oil, like this. So if you're a good dribbler, you'll be pretty good at this. Next, batter the floured side of the shiso leaf, then place it in the oil, battered side down. And when you place it in the oil, try and put it on top of some of those crispy tempura bits, because they are going to stick to it and they will make your shiso leaf look very impressive indeed, giving it real street cred. See what I mean? Now that's a shiso leaf that you don't want to mess with. It's got serious street cred and character. And there we have it, a tray full of tempura. Now that wasn't very hard, was it? So if you follow my recipe, you can bust these out anytime you feel like it. Okay, so now the tempura's all done, it's time to plate them. And for that, I'm going to be needing this, my bento box. And as you can see, it's already filled with rice because it's all ready to go. Yep, I'm going to make something similar to a tendon, which is a bowl of tempura on rice, and this is actually a bento box full of rice, so it's basically the same thing. You say tomato and I say tomato. You say aluminum and I say aluminium. At the end of the day, it's all the same diff. And by that I mean the same difference, which means the same thing, okay? That's a little bit of Kiwi slang there for you. Does it make sense? I'm not sure it does. Okay, now this is Ponzu. Ponzu makes a great dipping sauce, and when it comes to tempura, it is my personal preference. So there. Ponzu is a citrus-based sauce, and this one in particular has grated daikon radish in it. If you do find that the ponzu is a little bit strong, just dilute it with a little bit of water and it should be good to go. And yes, you could use Tentsu, which is the traditional Japanese tempura sauce, but hey, I'm a ponzu guy, so deal with it. Now check that out. That's a tempura shiitake mushroom covered in tempura batter and ponzu sauce, and what does it taste like? Fantastic. There you go, down the hatch and all gone. Okay, now since I've made a tendon, it's only appropriate that I pour some sauce on top of it. Now just take a look at that. Doesn't it look amazing? It looks like a mountain range of tempura. Alright, slight exaggeration there, but hey, it does look pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, so now it's time to get stuck into that eggplant. Yep, that's really good too. It's crunchy on the outside and nice and soft and juicy on the inside. Perfect. The rice is yummy, and that shiso leaf, oh, nice and crispy. Oh no, it's looking straight at me. I can't say no to that pumpkin. And as I alluded to before, I'm a real sucker for this one. And that's because it tastes so good. Case in point. Yep, this is definitely some great tempura, and if you follow my steps, you can make this at home easily. That's right, no more soggy or floppy tempura. So, hopefully after watching this, making tempura will no longer be a chore. It'll be a pleasure. And be sure to check out my video on how to make the perfect tempura shrimp. It's extremely educational, and it's a goodie. Okay, well I'm done for today. I'm the Bento Buster, thanks for watching and stay strong. Kia kaha!